And you're welcome to the security unit. As always, we are privileged to have a very high-profile personality that we're talking to. Um, Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Her name is Madam Galadza of the Global Affairs Canada and of the ELSIE Initiative. She is the Director General in charge of that. As part of the Ghana Armed Forces Women at 60, they're having this kind of conference or workshop to help with the participation of the Ghana Armed Forces females in the international operations. So we're privileged to have her here. Madam, welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Great. The first question to ask is, why Ghana? Why the interest in Ghana?
Well, let me tell you what the ELSIE Initiative is first, and then you'll understand why Ghana,
Yes.
I think, a little
Okay.
bit. So the ELSIE Initiative seeks to understand better how it is that women are incorporated into peace operations and where the barriers to their participation in peace operations and UN missions might be. As you know, the United Nations has called for significant increases in the numbers of women on peace operations,
Yeah.
and we're trying to move faster towards the targets that the UN has set. So part of moving faster is understanding better what the situation is in armed forces that allows women to go out on peace operations.
Okay.
Ghana does a good job. Ghana also has ambition to do an even better job.
Better than they're doing now.
Better than they're doing now. And Ghana deploys thousands of armed forces personnel to the UN missions. And so they are a good partner for us because there's a lot of activity,
Okay.
there's a lot of ambition,
Okay.
and there's a lot of political will to do more. And so it is with Ghana that we are innovating better ways of understanding how to get more women deployed on peace operations.
Okay. I guess you've inculcated a lot of answers I was anticipating. But let me ask this. You had targets. I'm sure you had targets before, previously. Now we're doing, the Ghana Armed Forces, we're doing 15% of our women participating in peace operations. What are your targets beyond what we're doing now?
So they're not my targets and they're not Canada's targets. They're the United Nations targets.
Okay.
And that means that they're the world's targets.
Okay.
And we all share a responsibility for meeting them. And you're right that Ghana has made good on its commitment.
Okay.
By 2025, so the United Nations has set targets to achieve by 2028.
Okay.
And they are 25% women in the military staff officer positions and 15% women in their contingents. They also have similar targets for police units.
Okay.
So they're much higher than what exists, and
Okay.
it's going to take a global effort to
Okay.
reach those targets.
Okay. You know, our part of the world, there are sometimes changes in hierarchy in ministries and departments and agencies. Let me ask what your strategy is. Assuming we have a change in government, we have a change in appointment of the military high command, what are your strategies to make sure that your pursuits are still followed?
Well, it's not just your part of the world that has to deal with changes and the turnover of personnel.
Okay.
We do as well, and we
Okay.
understand that that's a part of the business. We are very gratified that here in Ghana we now have support for the ELSIE Initiative partnership at all levels, and that's really important for continuity because we expect there to be changes. Minister Nitawol and Minister Bochwe have both spoken at the UN in Canada and elsewhere about their support, their political support for the ELSIE Initiative and for women in peace operations. We have colonels, lieutenant colonels who have participated in multiple discussions with us, and they have here in the Ghana Armed Forces created their own implementation team. That means that it is well and truly embedded embedded this project in the organization and at the political level. And so anything in between that changes, I think we will be able to weather that, and it will continue. And that is, the change is business as usual in a military kind of a context.
I'm asking this because most times from our part of the world, we see some of this initiative as coming from somewhere to us, being as imposition. So I'm asking so that what mechanisms you have in place so that it will be a bought-in kind of thing from the people themselves.
Well, the implementation committee that the Ghana Armed Forces have struck. They call it the ELSIE Implementation Committee. It is their committee, and that exists, and I think it will continue to exist. Also, through events like we have today, the word about the ELSIE Initiative is spreading, and you have a lot of young men and women in that auditorium who know more now, who expect this to be happening. And by broadening the knowledge of this initiative, we believe that that Ghana, the Ghana Armed Forces and Ghanaian society can own it and can continue to own it. When we were looking for partners, we were looking for true partners, because we had to build this initiative with the country. We did not come with an imposition. We came with some energy, with some funding, with an idea. And Ghana has been with us from the very beginning, building this initiative. So I think it is already well and truly owned by Ghana.
So practically, if you're looking at maybe the next operations that Ghana or GAF is going, practically what changes do you expect to see? This point, that, or this number? What are you looking at?
Well, we want to base changes on evidence of what changes are needed. There are many things that the Ghana Armed Forces do really well for the deployment of women. The next major activity that we're undertaking with Ghana is this measurement of the opportunities for women in peace operations that the KIPTC is going to be doing the research on with members of the servicemen and women, with the senior leadership in the Ghana Armed Forces, and once that analysis is done, once they have those numbers and that information, we're going to be able to see where there are filters that keep women away from peace operations, where there are opportunities to increase the numbers of women on peace operations. And once we know that, then we can have some activities, to tweak those things. And those activities Ghana will prioritize, and the Canadian Armed Forces will come in as partners to help implement the activities. And as a result of those activities, we hope that the numbers will increase.
Right. Finally, any last words you want to put to the public?
It is a privilege to be here, and I am encouraged and inspired every single time I come to Ghana. The energy that our Ghanaian partners have for this project keeps us going, even when we go back to Ottawa. We have excellent partners, and we believe that they are as excited about the initiative as we are, and as committed as we are. And so we do a lot of work far away, and we WhatsApp or we talk, but to come here and to feel it and to see it is so gratifying and so inspiring, especially on this 60th anniversary of women in the Ghana Armed Forces.
How long has ELSIE Initiative been in?
The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced it in November of 2017. And in February of 2018, we held our first design workshop. We brought experts from all over the world together. Your own Brigadier General Constance Ejeni was there. Members of your foreign ministry were there. They were instrumental. They participated so well. And all the way along, ever since then, they have been really good partners.
Okay.
So it's been since 2018.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And Brigadier General Bugon of the Canadian Air Force in an interview reviewed.
I'm in charge of operation in Canada, but I'm also the women peace and security champion for the Canadian Armed Forces.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And welcome to our country.
Thank
How
you.
do you find our country?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Really?
I mean, the Ghanaian are so welcoming. They're so nice. It's my second time in this country, and I love it.
I hope you're not saying just because of cameras.
No,
All right, so let's talk about the Canadian Armed Forces. How similar is it to what you have seen so far here?
Well, I mean, I think what I love about Ghana, and that's what the ELSIE is bringing up, is the objective of gender equality and all the great work that your government and your military is doing to have more women in operation. It's the same objective that we have in Canada, and I think that partnering with Ghana, we're going to learn from you, and I think hopefully you're going to learn from us too, and together we're going to be able to show the UN how to increase women participation in UN deployment.
Okay. Already, I know that we, on our part, we're doing about 15% of peace operations with female participation. How well are you doing?
We're doing okay. I mean, we are meeting the guideline of female deployed on observer. So we have about 20% female deployed as observer. So we're doing good. Canada at this point has very limited form unit. We're only deployed in Mali as a form unit, and we're about between 13 and 14.5%. So we're doing good.
Okay.
There's always place for improvement though.
Okay. So what really necessitated this initiative, the ELSIE Initiative, as well as you're doing? Why do you want to?
Well, you know, when you look at the gender integration and the numbers have stalled. They've been the same in the UN, very low, around 4.5% in contingent. So Canada really tried to push the initiative to asking the question, what can we do better? And that is where ELSIE is going to look at, is teaming up with countries like Ghana and Zambia to look at what the barriers are and hopefully try to find innovative solution to those barriers so that women can, we can increase number of participation in UN operation. Because we need to do it together to reach the very challenging goal that the UN has set for us, which is now 15% for the contingent and 25% on observers.
Okay. So is there a possibility of seeing this initiative result in, say, equipment being handed to armed forces?
I think at this point we're doing the barrier analysis, so looking into, Ghana first, but Canada will do the same thing eventually because we need to look in the mirror at ourselves to see how we can improve. But we're really looking forward to Ghana going through the barrier analysis, and it will identify what are the barriers. And at that point, if it's equipment, if it's infrastructure, if it's policy, if it's training, then with the government of Ghana and the Ghanaian Armed Forces, we're going to sit down together and see how we can help. But it's really going to be about meeting the requirements and the needs of Ghana. This is not about Canada, it's about Ghana.
I'm asking this because if you look at our country, the government is doing its bit when it comes to infrastructure, really about accommodation and other stuff like that. You know, if those things are there, that's when you can invite the recruits to come in or the officers to be enlisted and then be stationed there. But if they're not there, then heading towards the 15% or even the 20 or 28% would be difficult. That's what I'm asking of your willingness to do it.
Indeed. I mean, I think, honestly, the first piece that is the most important is the political will and the policy and the structure to allow military women to deploy and be in the military. So that's, in my opinion, is the most important. And I think Ghana, you're there. Now we're going to look at infrastructure. We're going to look at equipment because it's important for the women to have the right equipment, the ballistic vests that are actually designed for women and not designed for men, because men and women are not, designed the same. So equipment, it's important. Boots, people come to me and they say, well, boots, we just get shorter boots and they will do. And I'm like, no, it doesn't fit. Women's feet are much different than men's feet. So the boots is probably one of the most important piece of kit. They need to fit properly so that women are supported. And, but people don't think about that. So equipment is indeed very, very important.
Right. I want you to be straight with me. I know you're a general, so you are straight. What are the challenges you have identified with us?
We haven't identified. I mean, that is what the barrier analysis is doing right now. There's going to be surveys being done through military people, men and women. There'll be interviews done with leadership, from generals to political to soldiers on the ground, and they will really talk about what they think is issues, so that we can learn from the troops and the generals what are the gaps, and from there then we'll sit down together and look at those gaps and how we can find solution together.
Okay. Can you summarize what are your impressions then, and any message for the Ghanaian public or the Canadians watching back home?
Well, I'm very impressed with the open-mindedness of the Ghana people. You know, the leadership, the political leadership, the military leadership is very open. They understand the requirement for gender integration. You know, it's not about doing it because you have to. It's doing it because you want to, because you recognize the powerful efficiency that you gain when you actually employed women in operation. So it's really about doing it because you want to and not because you have to.
Thank you for staying tuned to the Security Unit. We promise you exceptional and exclusive interviews. This is an in-depth from the Canadian Armed Forces, and she's done her best. Brigadier General Buckhorn, you know, you will bring you other ones that are equally as interesting, but you just stay tuned and you have more. Bye-bye.